How you doing, Internet? Mogul Mike here on the Reaction channel. Over here, we like to talk about, you know, various cultural subjects and topics. And on my other channels is mainly more game focused. But over here, I want to, give my reaction and put my 2 cents into something. So, today, we have, I don't know if you ever heard of the game Palworld, but damn, you gotta give it a try if you haven't. But they're going through a crazy thing with Nintendo right now, and I'm a little late to the party, but I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it because there's been some updates, and let's get into it.
Sometimes my job's really weird. This is an example of that. I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but there is in fact a slim chance that Grand Theft Auto 5 might save Palworld. But here's the actual story, right? When September 18th, 2024 hit, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company dropped a legal bomb on the Palworld developer Pocket Pair, basically patent infringement on game mechanics.
Which is crazy because you think it would all be about them stealing the, certain pals looking like Pokemon and stuff, and which honestly I'm kind of happy they're not going after them for that, but still, some of the things that I've heard about them going after them for, just insane.
That happened, but Pocket Pair then went and did something gutsy. Before any of it hit court, they decided, right, this is clearly David versus Goliath, we need to go public with a statement. Here is the statement that they put out. It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to the game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas.
Meaning that the game is gonna not... It's not going to get better. They can't make the game better because now they're going to have to waste a bunch of money going to court and doing all this shit.
And when it all went down, the timing was fascinating. Pocket Pair were actually prepping Palworld's PS5 launch, and Tokyo Game Show was right around the corner. It seemed the perfect time to drop things. The perfect moment, of course, then, for Nintendo to throw in a lawsuit and create chaos everywhere. But it was not enough to stop a crazy successful month for the company, because rather than the expected PS5 reveal at Tokyo Game Show, they shadow dropped it during the PlayStation State of Play presentation. Japan got the game a few days earlier in October, and according to PlayStation's Japan blog, it actually jumped to the top of the downloads. It beat the like...
That's crazy. I know this says it's in Japan, but wow, the #1 downloaded game over Dragon Ball, Call of Duty, Jesus, that's crazy.
Of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Metaphor ReFantazio, which is impressive. Their numbers are massive, especially in Japan. Now, we've been in a holding pattern ever since. We've been waiting for something to happen, and that is what brings us to today's developments. It's wild, so get ready and sit down. Pocket Pair have revealed that Nintendo filed 3 patents in 2024. Of course, that's after Palworld released, and these patents are all focusing on one specific thing. It's pretty crazy, right? Throwing a ball at a creature to catch it. No battle required.
See, now that's one part that I heard is like, that's crazy, that to say that you can't throw a ball at an animal. Like, come on. Hunting has been around forever, and what do? You set traps for it, you throw things at it, come on. This is just ridiculous.
Just throw and catch. Now, you might think, how can they patent something after Palworld came out with the mechanic? Well, the problem is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Nintendo had this mechanic in the wild for nearly 2 years before Palworld came out, and in legal terms, you actually don't need to file your patent first. Nintendo just need to prove that they did it first. And these 3 are not the entire arsenal.
Cool,
a patent expert writing for GameIndustry.biz spotted 28 different patents where Nintendo were alleging infringement. And it's frustrating stuff like running about, transporting your character on a monster. But they're only using these 3, and the reason why is simple. Nintendo want to play it smart. These are the ones where they think they can prove that Palworld copied the specific mechanical implementation from Arceus. Now, they've actually found that movement with the US Patent Office is really slow. It actually may not happen over there, but obviously Japan is where both companies are. It's their home turf. Okay, these 3 patents then are Nintendo's weapon. Now for their objective. Let's get into the numbers, because the Nintendo lawsuit against Palworld is not all that it seems. Now, the initial ask is 5 million yen each for the patents from Pocket Pair, payable to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, which is a grand total of 65,000 USD. That's an absolutely tiny amount of money, especially compared to another Nintendo victim, Colopol, where basically they ended with a settlement that was worth 30 million and then ongoing licensing fees. Absolutely brutal, which fits. Nintendo's legal team, especially in their home turf, are basically renowned absolute legal assassins. They tend to win all the time. Now, that 65 grand is obviously just an opening move in what is obviously a sort of lawfare thing, right? It's corporate chess. Nintendo's not really going after that pocket change. They're playing a longer game here, and it's not just to bury the company in legal fees, though it is absolutely also that.
I mean, it's definitely that, because they play a long enough legal game, and there goes Palworld. They don't even have to get it banned. They just have to let the money run dry, and that's it.
Let's take a look at the patents to understand how Nintendo have operated here. So yeah, they actually did file these patents after Palworld launch, but they're in fact derived from a December 2021 patent, and they've basically tailored things for this situation. And an IP attorney called Kirk Sigmund spoke to PC Gamer and explained that this is actually standard practice, where companies will have an existing patent, but then they'll refine it to close loopholes. But of course, the timing matters, and in this case, it really does look like Nintendo was preparing their battleground. So here's the brutal part, and well, here's it in Kirk's own words. Your general attorneys cannot do this sort of work. You've got to find specialists. It gets extremely expensive and time-consuming, and it can wear a lot of small companies out. It is designed to make you no longer play the game. So in other words, you either give in or you sign yourself up for a legal battle that you don't even know if you can afford. But of course, you probably guess it's not just that. Nintendo's real legal objective here is almost certainly to get an injunction. This would prevent Palworld from being sold whilst it's in breach of those patents. And either way, it's all aimed at sowing chaos. And here's the reason why. Palworld could change the mechanic, right, to no longer be in breach of the patent. That would obviously take game development time, and it would risk player sentiment because they know the game as it is, they like it as it is.
My God. You're at level 49 and you're still using those regular blue PAL balls. Noob.
And if they just have to come up with a new mechanic to replace catching your pals, well, players may not like that. And the real risk here is...
And he's not using the Ring of Mercy. What the hell?
...time, because they would be incentivized to fix this problem and replace the mechanic as soon as is possible. Now, of course, if you want the mechanic to be good, to be well play tested, you will take your time and get it right. But if you're in breach, if there's an injunction, you can't really afford to do that because it's blocking your game from sale. Or, of course, you could give in, and you could agree to license the patent from Nintendo. But the message, as Kirk puts it, is clear. Quote, for them, this is a massive target they need to declare. Don't do this to us ever again. One could speculate they'd probably...
See, don't... That's crazy, because you know what? I'll say this. This is... No one has an original idea. If you think you've ever had an original idea, it's happened before. The only thing that does happen is that good ideas get expanded upon. And that's what innovation is taking ideas that have already existed and making them better. Which is what they did with Palworld. They made it better. Like... You know, you could say, oh, they ripped this off, they ripped that off. All right, there's tons of things in Palworld that isn't in Pokemon. Like, there's no Pokemon game, really, that you've ever done base building. There's no Pokemon game that includes guns. There's no, like, you know, there's so many aspects to the game that, all right, you have the pals, and you have the Pokeballs, and you have, like, the fake gym leaders, and, you know. But they expanded upon the game and made it a lot better. And the way they mishmash all the stuff together makes it a really fun game to play. So for them to say, don't ever do this to us again because we own the rights to all the ideas ever is just ridiculous. Like, Nintendo is just so selfish sometimes. It's crazy.
Probably do the same thing to any company that came too close to the main line, especially when they perceived it to possibly infringe their IP. That's what Kirk said. And this is absolutely Nintendo sending a warning shot across the bow of the entire industry. It is them hitting Pocket Pair right when they are trying to seize their opportunity. And that includes things like, yes, the PlayStation relationship, but also plans that could see their IP be expanded, just like Pokemon was. And I think that is the real thing that Nintendo are worried about here. Palworld is scrappy, right? And I think we all know that it is taking commonly appreciated elements from all over the place and putting them into something. And Nintendo are probably realizing, this could be a little bit of a problem, because we've basically sat on top of Pokemon. We've done a pretty bad job, all things considered, Pokemon Company as well, for years and years and years and years. What if somebody else is actually able to fight us by making a better Pokemon-like experience? I think that is why Nintendo are trying to do what they do.
100%. They are so salty that everyone loved this game. That everyone, at least who played it and downloaded it, loved this game. Because lately, Pokemon has been struggling with their games lately. They haven't been as fun, and they're not putting as much effort into it. That's why they put a lot of effort into Palworld, and that's why people enjoy playing it, because the game works really well. Even though, like you said, could be a little janky, a little rough around the edges, but you know what? It's fun enough. It's fun enough to play.
But I did say there's more than that, and I mentioned Grand Theft Auto. I didn't think Grand Theft Auto would be involved, but kind of is.
Why is everyone spiraling over YouTube banning ad blockers? Like, chill guys, just use Pi. It's a free Chrome extension that's actually made by one of the founders of Honey.
So this is Nintendo locking things down on their home turf, but it probably won't have that much impact on the broader industry, the global industry, if Nintendo cannot get the American patent system to agree with them, and at the very least we know that's been a way slower process. But, of course, the principle here is an important thing. And there's actually a long shot that was proposed by a patent attorney in Nikkei Business. This is absolutely amazing, and I love it. They pointed out that while Nintendo's patents for catching monsters in an open field, might have been filed as far back as December 2021, and it's like, first incarnation, they may not actually have the first instance of that mechanic, and that's because of this. This, everybody, is Pokemon Go in Grand Theft Auto 5, done 8 years ago in 2016. Now, remember, how precedence in the actual market with a product, well, that means that Arceus would trump Palworld in terms of filing those patents. Well, as is put here in Nikkei Business, this would mean that because of this mod for GTA, there is an established usage that basically would mean Nintendo shouldn't have been able to file their patent because they didn't create the mechanics, because it was inspired by Pokemon Go, but it was different, and it was there in a GTA mod. It was there in the market. And that means that Pokemon and guns may save the game with Pokemon and guns, which is absolutely insane. But okay. A wild story, and to be honest with you, I really hope Nintendo lose here. Patenting game mechanics is risky business, and one of the worst examples we saw of that was the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War series. They're pretty good games, the second one quite a bit less because they...
Yeah, the game with the Nemesis series, right? I heard about that mechanic, and that's why they think they came up with the idea of, characters should interact with each other in the game. That should just be a normal thing. They
tried to ruin that with monetization, but the amazing thing was the Nemesis system. The problem is, the Nemesis system was patented such that if you do something with a Nemesis system-like thing, and look, if it's an indie, sure, they'll probably not notice, but maybe if it gets noticed enough, Warner Brothers Games will just be able to take you to court. And I don't think any of us can really, afford to battle with Warner Brothers' bloody lawyers. Yeah, this stuff sucks. Good luck to them. That's it for this video. And for more news, check this one out next.
Damn, that's crazy. Well, I wish Palworld all the luck because it's a fun game. And I hope the innovation doesn't stop because of Nintendo. Because honestly, their greedy ass gotta stop with this stuff. But, if you liked the video, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and peace out. See you in the next one.